Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is Jibrin, and this is my angle. I have come with this monologue today to talk about American politics, and there are few thoughts about personal thoughts that I have about American politics that I think it's important to share with my audience and others and people who care to actually watch or understand. It's about female presidency in America, and I think the nutshell is I think America is not ready, not prepared yet for a female president, and yeah, that is just the bottom line. And I'll share my thoughts. I hope you understand my reasons, which in my own opinion is rational and evident. Um, you see, the American society and extent and to a great extent, the entire West, it's a woman's world, no doubt about that. But when you talk about woman's world in America or the West, it has to do with social aspect of life. Socially, it's a woman's world. There's no doubt about that. But politically, it's not. It's a man's world. And everyone will, if any rational person will attest to that, that politically, globally, everywhere in the world, politically, it's a man's world. We have few countries where you have women actually playing or being at the forefront of political establishment or political positions, both as the president or legislative or legislators rather. Excuse me. So it's a global thing. So it is safe to now conclude that globally, from the political angle, it's a man's world. Now, but in the West, when it comes to the West, specifically the US, from the social angle, it's a woman's world. But today we are talking about the man's world, which means by default we are talking about politics or political power. So, talking about that, um, if you agree with me that from the political angle that it's a woman's world, let's just go with the US right now. That if you agree in the US, politically, it's a man's world, then you will agree with what I'm about to say right now. Now, when Hillary Clinton came up to contest for presidency, I think in 2024, 2015, 2016 presidential election, I was discussing with someone. I was discussing with an elderly person who is a U.S. citizen, and I actually expressed to him that even though he campaigned for Hillary, and he was going to, I think he voted, not he was going to, he voted for Hillary as well. And but I told him, I said, look, there is nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong in having a woman, a female president in the US, but I think the US is not prepared for it. It is not time for it. It may eventually happen. There's no doubt about that, but we are not prepared for that right now. So what am I talking about? I say yes, because the political angle, the political environment belongs to the men. It's a man's world. Politically, it's a man's world, and therefore, if you are if a woman is coming out, the woman must stand out, must be ready to stand out amongst men. And you understand, when I say stand out amongst men, it means you have to stand out in intelligence, in brilliance, in eloquence, in charisma. You have to stand out in quality leadership. So and that is just the reality in this world right now when it comes to leadership. And you don't you if you are, if it's a man's world, you don't come out as a mediocre. You don't come out with the same quality we are having from from men, which is sometimes some of them are half baked, some of them are just pushover, some of them are were probably sponsored by the establishment. They were probably a kind of uh, behind the scene, anointed by the establishment to, and they become probably figuratively the presidential candidate of a specific either party, either Democratic Party or RNC, Republican Party, or an independent candidate. Anyway, but the establishment has never sponsored, and I don't think they will ever sponsor. I doubt so. They will ever sponsor an independent candidate. So, and that is just, you cannot, if you are dealing with men, if you are coming into a men's predominant profession, you better be ready to actually outsmart the men. You better be ready to stand out amongst the men. You better be ready to be distinguished among the men. You better be ready to do something extraordinary, something peculiar, something unique, something special that will actually give you an edge over the men. And that was what I told the man then. And I said, because of that, US is not ready, because if they were ready, if US was ready, they couldn't have actually given us, they couldn't have offered us Hillary Clinton. For God's sake, if you are going to stand out, you bring out your best. You bring out your best. So the women, the US was not ready for a woman, and because they didn't bring out their best. Because Hillary was all over. We was coming with a whole lot of baggage, the Benghazi scandal baggage, the private server baggage, the bleach beach baggage, the Hillary Foundation, Clinton Foundation baggage of corruption. Hillary was coming with a whole lot of scandals, or scandalous activities around herself, her entire family, and her and people around her. Sort of. So that wasn't, and besides, Hillary was not even known to be smart. Even though she is a lawyer, she is not known to be a smart or intelligent or brilliant lady. Hell no. Sort of. So she was only identified, she is only identified, and will continue to identify with the establishment, with the powers that be. That is just her her pedigree. Her pedigree is just one of the powers that be. Her pedigree is one of the establishment politician. That is just it. When the US needs more than that from the women. For US to be ready, to be prepared, to be ripe enough to actually welcome a female president in the country, they must be ready. The country must put out a woman that stands out amongst men. That is the reality. So Hillary was not categorized in that. Very far from being such a person, and that was why she failed. And now that brings me back again. That brings me down to the moment that we are in right now with what's her name, Kamala Harris. Oh my God, she's even worse than Hillary Clinton. That is the reality. Kamala Harris is the epitome of dumbness. She personifies uh, uh, dumbness. What you call dumbness in its reality. That is what Hillary personifies. Anytime she opens her mouth, you just see what comes out of her mouth is nonsense. Things that does not make sense. Things that does not add up. Whatever. She makes up words and phrases from nothing to nothing. a sort of. So she makes it turn something that is supposed to be something and makes those things to be nothing. That is just what comes out of what's her name here, Kamala Harris, for God's sake. We all know her history, how she started, where she started from. She was in California. She was a prosecutor. She was attorney general, and she was yeah, she did all that, a sort of. So from there she became a senator, from senator whatever, and from the beginning, we all know her history. From the beginning to where she is today, she obviously used her power, her feminine power, to get to where she is today. It was all her feminine power. Everything. So some of these records are no more, they are in the public domain. That is just the reality. We've had people who were one time kind of a figure, like a godfather figure to her, that came out and made public, gave out interview and actually gave some revelations on how Kamala Harris got to where she is today, sort of. So in fact, in reality, she basically used her feminine body, her body. Actually, that's just it. That's just it. Use that body to induce, as an induction, to get to where she is today. So she's basically empty. She's empty. She's even 10 times worse than Hillary Clinton, because Kamala. Sometimes I wonder how she became a lawyer. How did she pass her bar examinations? Because anytime she opens her mouth, she does not make sense. No sense. Sense does not come out of her mouth. Has never, as a politician, come out of her mouth. She just can't put two sentences together to make something out of it. She just can't. You can imagine someone that have been the vice president for 3.5 years, yet cannot answer simple questions, basic questions that even me as a layman can answer. Even someone worse than me can answer. Even a primary school or an elementary school student can answer. Kamala Harris cannot answer basic leadership questions. You have been in an administration as the vice president of this country for 3.5 years, yet you cannot answer simple questions. Simple questions. And such a person can't even address the people without using a teleprompter. Of course, because she cannot make sense out of her head. So it has to be, someone has to do it for her. People have to do it for her and translate it into a teleprompter that she will use to talk to the public. So that is just the reality. Now, the two women that have come close to leadership, close to being the president of this country, they are full of the one is the dumbest of all women that I've ever heard or seen in power, and the other one has a whole lot of baggage of corruption all over her life. And you think the United States is ready for such? Hell no. Politics is a man's world. This terrain is a man's world. And if you as a lady are coming out to actually outsmart the men, you really have to be up and doing. You really have to be someone that stands out. You really have to be indeed that person that can push the men off the track. For they say, when you are in Rome, you have to be like a Roman, behave like a Roman. So if you are coming to coming to the battlefield where you have men as the predominant factor, you really have to be ready to upstage the men. You really have to be as agile as the man. The men, you really have to be smarter than the men. You really have to be more intelligent than the men. You really have to do something that people will see and say, oh my God, yes, she is a woman. She's supposed to be weak, but man, she's strong. And I think she can do better, because I've seen strong women who are leaders. In my country, Nigeria, I've seen strong women. We had them. The greatest time, the time we had the greatest number of strong women in Nigeria, in the Nigerian leadership level, at the Nigerian leadership level, was in the during the Obasanjo's election presidency as a democratically elected president, 1999, where we're between 1999 and 2003 that he left there, 2007 that he left. We had Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, we had Obio Ezekwesili, we had Dora Akunyili. My God, we had these three wonderful women. Then, arguably, we had Nenadi Usman. Arguably. But these other three are inarguably very smart, intelligent, agile women. Women that actually stood out amongst men. Yeah, that is it. And that is what is expected in the US. If United States, if you desire to have a female president, give us a female president material. Indeed. A female president material that stands out, that can outsmart the men. Not dump asses like Kamala Harris, for God's sake. How on earth? I don't know when people are excuse me. When I watch the polls coming out, and several polls, and even not all the polls, are either coming out with Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump, or they are neck in neck. I think by today, I think as of today, they are neck to neck within the margin of error, either +1 or -1 from both sides, sort of. And I shake my head. I say, what the hell is going on, for God's sake? There's something there are obviously several issues wrong with all these polls. Yeah, someone will say, can all the polls be wrong? Yeah, all of them cannot be wrong, but the reality is probably the way they are actually the poll is being conducted, there is something wrong with it. Probably they are not actually speaking with the right demography or the right people or whatever. But in reality, it does not make sense for someone like Kamala Harris to be polling neck in neck with Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump, for God's sake, these two people are far apart when it comes to comparison of what who can do. We all know that even the Democrats that are ardent or they are passionate haters of Donald Trump, even behind the scene, behind closed doors, they know the truth. They tell themselves the truth all the time. They know how good this Donald Trump is. They know what he can do, what he has done. They acknowledge all the good things, how he performed before 2020, between 2017, 2016, and 2020. They know the truth. They know the reality of Trump's abilities and capabilities. And yet, people compare. I don't understand. You compare these two, they are incomparable. How can Trump be polling neck and neck with the dumb ass as Kamala Harris, for God's sake? Someone that doesn't even know how to address people. Someone that even in his own whatever, he keeps firing and hiring people, not even firing. People are all resigning in his, people around him are resigning because her conduct and attitude towards her staff is just unbecoming, is unbearable. Anyway, that is not even important to the administration of the country, but that is just, but they say charity begins at home. Your conduct matters as well. Personal conduct with your employees and people who work for you matters, because it trickles down to the overall benefits to the organization, whatever you are managing. So back again to my point. America, you are not ready. You are not ready for for female president, because when you are ready, by the time you are ready, we will know that you are ready. You will bring out for us the greatest woman of all time. We have a lot of them, a lot of great women. We have so many of them. I don't want to begin to, some of them, I have some names in my head right now, but I don't want to start mentioning names. We have some of them. Unfortunately, those are not the people, because those people do not belong in the establishment class. They won't push them out. Nobody to sponsor them. So they are not in the good books of the establishment. So therefore, they would remain relegated to the background. And so that is just the reality, for God's sake. Kamala, Kamala does not stand a chance. I do not have any iota of doubt that Donald Trump will win this presidency, because my God, sometimes I just imagine how can it ever be that what will it look like for someone like Kamala Harris to actually win a presidential election in the US, the greatest nation of all time, for a kind of dump as Kamala to win election as a president? That would be a disgrace, an embarrassment to the US. So it will not happen. I am so confident Donald Trump will obviously sweep the. In fact, this poll neck and neck, he will not even come out at neck and neck. People are not bold enough. People are not bold enough to speak, to actually give out or say their mind. That is just the reality. And that is why we are having this crazy poll that is giving us neck and neck with between Kamala and Donald Trump. So the reality is, yes, nothing. Again, US is not ready for a female president. When US is ready, we will know that US is ready for a female president. But for now, it is no. No, we cannot have the first female president to be the dumbest of all women. If we have to have, if something have to be unprecedented in the US, it has to be something good, something positive, not something outrageous. For God's sake, how will the dumbest of all presidential candidates in the history of presidential candidacy in the US, how will the dumbest of all be square up, or rather compete with the greatest of all presidential candidate and all presidents? Because in my opinion, Donald Trump, I categorize Donald Trump, I rate him as the best president US ever had. The 4 years of Donald Trump was awesome, was unbelievable. That man is someone who does what he says he will do. He did everything he promised to do during the campaign, 2015-2016 campaign. He did everything. He did not only accomplish everything, he accomplished much more than much more than what he promised. He did accomplish all those things that he didn't even promise to do. Everyone benefited from, all demographies benefited positively from Donald Trump 4 years. The women, the blacks, the Hispanics, the elderly, the young, the Gen Zs, everyone benefited. The business people, everyone benefited. All demographies benefited from Donald Trump's 4 years of presidency. There is no precedent. You do know one of the reasons why I rate Donald Trump as a best president US ever had, is because there is no president that promised during campaign all the promises they made, they actually fulfilled them. Not even Reagan, that Republicans reconsider as the greatest of Republican presidents. No one. Politicians are liars. They'll campaign for to do something, and when they get there, they do something different. But Trump is the only one that didn't do that. Everything he campaigned on, he actually did them. He performed. He worked. He achieved results on them, and much more than including what he didn't even promise to do rather. So that is just the reality. That is one of the several reasons why I rate him as the greatest president. He's the only politician who actually means what he says and says what he means. This man, President Trump, took bold steps, acted in bold ways that other presidents chickened out. And US, you people are bringing out a dumb ass as Kamala Harris to win such a genius in Donald Trump? Hell no. US is not ready for a female president. When US is ready for a female president, we will know that US is ready for a female president. But for today, for now, US is not ready for a female president. And this is my angle.